Hello everyone, we're here at the Nürburgring and only 5 more races to go. It's getting tight and super exciting in the DTM at this point in time. And the weather today is slightly different. We've got clouds and fog. It's a bit chillier. Let's see what the Eifel brings. As you know, it can't be surprising. And the man who is second in the championship is Thomas Preining. The Austrian is 17 points behind Maro Engel. And as I mentioned, 5 more races to go. So obviously at this point it's all about the valuable points. You need to collect every single one of them, because in the end that's what might make the difference. And Thomas has been racing for Manthey so long that he says even though he's Austrian, this here almost feels like a home race. So let's see what he can do in the qualifying. Here are the commentators. Enjoy.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Yeah, welcome to Nürburgring Day 2, and much more Nürburgring type weather this than we've been used to in the last few days. We're going to be about 8 degrees cooler than yesterday, and as we arrived at the circuit about an hour and a half ago, the closer we got to the track, the foggier it became. It is, I think, just about okay at the moment. It keeps coming and going, but the sun is threatening to break through, and that will help to clear the fog. So for now, we can see enough between marshal posts. There's enough visibility that I think will be okay to crack on with our qualifying session, our second of the weekend. But we're going to be shy of one car. Christian Engelhardt, after his last lap collision with Thierry Vermeulen, is going to miss Q2, and he's also going to miss the race. Too much damage to the front of what is, remember, a brand new Lamborghini Temerario, brought in to replace the car of Max Powell, which crashed out big time at Nürburgring. And this was what happened on the last couple of corners of the last lap of the race. Into the back of Thierry Vermeulen went Christian Engelhardt, who ended up getting a 15-second penalty for it post-race. But that's rather irrelevant now, because Engelhardt is going to miss the race. So more struggles, really, and more disappointment and more frustration for Gottfried Grasser's team with everything they've been through already this weekend, before we even turned a wheel in anger with the disqualification of Mirko Bortolotti from his victory at Oschersleben. Of course, the nightmare crash, the horror crash for Max Powell, who thankfully is well on the road to recovery and is here this weekend after what happened at the Nürburgring, and the car destroyed several broken bones and vertebrae for Max Powell. But he is back, and it looks very much like he's going to be back before the end of the season. And there is your championship leader, Maro Engel, picked up a strong 6th place finish yesterday. Strong because he picked up the win after Mirko was disqualified last time out at Oschersleben. Therefore, he had 20 kilograms of success ballast in the race. Started 6th, finished 6th, extends his or continues his championship stranglehold. But Matteo Caroli was the driver that won the race yesterday at a canter. He won by almost 10 seconds. Really strong drive in dry conditions. That's the biggest margin of victory by some distance this season that we've had. Thomas Preining was second. Marco Wittmann was on the podium. And that's 3 straight podiums for Thomas Preining, 2 straight podiums for Marco Wittmann as well, as they build up their challenge for this year's championship title. Luigi Auer finishing in 5th place yesterday. Had a really good start off the line, but tried to go around the outside into turn 1 and just ran out of grip, and then ended up dropping back from what potentially was going to be a 3rd place to 5th position. It's Ben Durr that had the best start yesterday, actually. Went from 5th to 3rd, but he lost out. A slightly sluggish pit stop meant that with a very quick pit stop for his rival for 3rd place in the race, Marco Wittmann, from Schubert, he did a 5.9 second pit stop. Marco was able to get much closer to Ben Durr and able to get past him when Ben got his tyres up to temperature to nab that final place on the podium. Incidentally, the fastest pit stop of the year yesterday for Come To You Racing, 5.881 seconds for Nicola Bart, who picked up his best results in the championship so far with a 12th place finish, but only 14 cars finishing the race yesterday. In terms of the championship, then, just to go through that in a little bit more detail, Maro Engel, 160 points, 17 clear now of Thomas Preining, who has gone from 4th to 2nd in the championship. He's on 143. Lucas Auer, 3rd in the championship on 136, is 24 points behind Nicky Tim, who was very frustrated yesterday, particularly with Tom Callender in the Mercedes, with whom he ended up having a coming together at the chicane. He felt that he was being blocked all the way from the start of the race by Tom Callender, and the frustration boiled out. There was contact when he had a lunge and made contact with the back of the Mercedes, sending both onto the grass. Got a 5-second penalty for it, and he was also complaining that Tom Callender was the one that had sent him out wide at the start of the race as well on lap 1. So very frustrated Nicky Tim. Matteo Cairoli, though, 5th in the championship, just behind Nicky Tim now on 123 points, means there's only 37 points between the top 5, with Marco Wittmann 6th, 50 points adrift. One race to come today, 4 more after this at the Sachsenring and Hockenheim. Right, 20 minutes of qualifying to set the grid for race 2, round 12 of DTM 2026. We're here in the commentary box. A look out the commentary box window, and it gets brighter and brighter, which is good news. I think that fog is going to disappear, and we are go with qualifying. My name's Chris Hartley, and alongside me, it's good morning to Brian Oliver.
Morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Nürburgring. Yes, very different conditions to what we've had so far this week in all the practice and testing and qualifying. The track and the air temperature has been boiling hot, so much cooler today with that mist in the air. It will heat up. Yesterday in qualifying, we saw the cars coming out for their installation lap, as we often do, and Tom Callender putting a lot of smoke out there. We saw the cars all coming back into the garage straight after the installation lap, as we always do, and then it was a fairly quiet qualifying session until about 3.5 minutes to go, when all hell was let loose. In these cooler conditions today, it'll be interesting to see whether they leave it quite as late or not. So maybe a slightly different dynamic today. Clock's already ticking. One thing is for sure, they're all going to peel off back into the pit lane in just a few moments, ready for the heat-soaked sequence.
Yeah, it's Matteo Cairoli. He got the pole position yesterday, a couple of tenths of a second away from the qualifying lap record set by Mirko Bortolotti back in 2023. Right, balance of performance changes. There's been an update overnight, and quite a few changes. First thing to say is that there have been no changes to the Ferrari. So same weight, it's got the same boost all the way through. But lots of the other brands have been given more favourable balance of performance than they had yesterday. So to go through it alphabetically, Aston Martin's 10 kilograms lighter than they were yesterday, and they've got more boost throughout the rev range.
Don't know, but yeah, I saw the smoke as well from Killister.
Yeah, Maro Engel confirming, yeah, don't know what that was, but he said, I saw some smoke as well coming from Tom Callender's car. That was down at the hairpin. So Aston Martin's 10 kilograms lighter, more boost throughout the rev range. BMW's 10 kilograms lighter than yesterday, more boost at low and mid revs, but less boost at top revs, at high revs. Ferrari, the same weight, same boost as yesterday. Ford, obviously, no changes because they didn't really go out yesterday at all. Did a lap each, an installation lap each in qualifying, a couple of laps in the race, and then both retired. So they're the same as they were. Lamborghini's 5 kilograms lighter, more boost throughout the rev range. McLaren's 20 kilograms lighter, despite the fact we had Ben Durr just off the podium in 4th. Same boost as yesterday. Mercedes, 20 kilograms lighter than yesterday as well. And the only one that hasn't changed, apart from the Ferrari, is the Porsche. They've got the same weight and same air restrictor as previously. A reminder that not in qualifying, but in the race later on, the top 3 from yesterday, Matteo Cairoli, Thomas Preining and Marco Wittmann, will have success ballast on the cars. So Matteo Cairoli is going to have 20 kilograms for the race, an extra 10 kilograms of success ballast for Preining, and an extra 5 for Wittmann when we get to the race. In qualifying yesterday, as a benchmark, the pole time was a 1:25.345 for Matteo Cairoli. Thomas Preining was second quickest with a 1:25.381, and Luigi Auer with a 1:25.4 set the third quickest time yesterday. They were the 3 that scored points yesterday in Q1.
So with only 14 cars being classified as finishers, and a couple of those didn't actually make it across the line at the end, it was a fairly diminished field towards the end of the race. But quite a few drivers, as you already mentioned, retiring fairly early in the race yesterday. Today, with those 2 pit stops and with restricted tyres, a lot of drivers with fairly fresh tyres for the race today.
It's going to be a very different day. Verena Rita's got news for us down in the pit lane.
With Volker Striezek. So tell us about it. Obviously in the qualifying, the strategy is always about first the cars go out, then they come back into the boxes to check it up. So maybe talk us through what exactly is being done there.
Of course, the main reason is to come in is we have to run with cold tires. So it means 1 lap or 2 laps are responsible for to heat up the tire. And now we are standing still because the heat temperature from the brake is now coming into the tire and it improves the temperature. that is the reason why we are standing at the moment with all cars into the pit and try to bring the heat into the tire, and then everybody will go out and try to do the best in lap time.
Yeah, let's see about that. And now the Nürburgring, you know the Nürburgring so well. And now the conditions are a bit different to yesterday. What are you expecting here? I mean, the fog is clearing up, it's getting warmer.
Yeah, of course, and it was also more humidity into. That means we are really not clear, is the setup the right one for this extremely colder condition as we had yesterday. But we will see, it's for everybody the same procedure, and we have to see how the influence will be. But we feel good because our car is running under this condition better as it was yesterday under the extremely hot condition. So, yeah, we see later on how will be the improvement also for the BOP, the new one. A lot of cars has less weight, a bit more boost. And hopefully everything will be not boring and very close together, that we will have a good race.
That's what the DTM is known for, right? It's been so exciting this year so far, right?
Yeah, right. And you saw yesterday, the race was really extremely good also for us. Yeah, and we try to do the same today, and we see where we are.
Right, put on a good show. Thank you so much, Volker.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to you.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Yeah, great to hear from Volker Strijek, first ever DTM champion as a BMW driver back in 1984. Took over as the tech manager at Motorsport this year.
I will get on strange noise when I move left to right. But it can be also something loose inside the cabin. It's like tuck.
A bit of Lamborghini in the back of it that's moving around.
Yeah, bit of Christian Engelhardt's Lamborghini still in there. So Thierry Vermeulen saying something's rattling around. It's in the cabin. This was the incident yesterday. Of course, the team has had to work hard to get the car repaired overnight at Emil Frey Racing. We're not going to see Christian Engelhardt in action. We are going to see Thierry Vermeulen in action. This is what it looked like on board with the Dutch driver. Just, 3 corners from home from the checkered flag. They could have done without, that's for sure. So it's sort of bittersweet day yesterday for Emil Frey Racing, because their other car, this car, was the winning car. Utter domination, wasn't it, yesterday from Matteo Caroli? Not the first time he's won from pole this season, and kind of made it look easy. Not that it ever is, but he was just perfect yesterday, wasn't it? It was a great drive.
I think we would call that a masterclass. We found this with Matteo Caroli. When he starts on pole position, he has a habit of doing this, doesn't he? He doesn't control the pace. He just disappears off into the distance and thoroughly demoralises everybody else. He certainly did that yesterday. Nobody was ever going to live with him, were they?
Yeah, Matteo Caroli he's the first driver this season to get 3 race wins. Got his maiden victory at Zandvoort and his second weekend of DTM, when again at the Lausitz-Ring, led the championship at that point after 3 weekends, but then only an 11th, the retirement of the Norris Ring, an 11th and a 9th at Oschersleben, a couple of difficult weekends, down to 5th in the championship, but getting the maximum points yesterday, 25 for the win plus 3 for pole position. And he's going to take some stopping in this qualifying session. Wants to get, obviously, as high up the grid as he can, but even more so because he knows he's got this success ballast to carry in the race. As I've said a couple of times, Brian, I thought a really good job by Maro Engel yesterday. 6th place from 6th on the grid, holding station with 20 kilograms of ballast on board. That was a very good drive from Maro. The sort of drive where you maximise what you've got, what you can achieve with the package that you've got that day. And those are the sorts of results. It's not the spectacular wins and podiums. It's those lesser days where you still get strong points that really contribute towards your championship.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his results of this year, and only once has he finished outside of the top 7, and that's where it comes, isn't it? That's the consistency. We saw it. We mentioned it yesterday with Jack Aitken last year. He'd won lots of races, but he seemed to follow the good days with bad days, and it's consistency across the entire season that wins the championships. Thomas Preining knows all about that. He did that in 2023. Looking fairly dangerous here this year as well. While the cars are in the garage, I have to mention yesterday for me, and we're looking at the Porsche garage there. I had the absolute privilege yesterday. I've been taken around the circuit in a Porsche 911 Cup car, the very same that are in Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland, on slick tyres. I was chauffeured by Wolf Hensler, the former Le Mans 24-hour winner, the former Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup champion, and of course the driver coach for the Porsche talent pool. It was yesterday evening. I'm still trying to piece myself together now. We only did a couple of laps, and honestly, it felt like I'd been run over by a steamroller, but in a good way. insane. And I just think to myself, these drivers, I mean, that was 2 laps and I was wiped. It wasn't so much the acceleration as the braking and the grip in the corners. And these drivers are superhuman to be able to withstand that for an hour.
And concentrate and think, you know, they're kind of almost doing it automatically, like as they're thinking strategy when they're coming to pit, talking on the radio, trying to figure out what the other driver is doing, where they're better, where they're not as strong, where they can overtake potentially on the next lap. So they're not using 100% of their brain to drive the car. They're using a portion of it, and the rest of it is on strategy, isn't it? It's pretty amazing, really, to have that level of concentration. So go on, what was the most eye-widening part of the lap? When you're in the passenger seat, which bit did you go, hold your breath, God, this is quick?
I think probably actually coming out of turn 7, because we took turn 8 absolutely flat, then we went up this slight gradient towards the chicane and then hard on the brakes, and then of course not around the chicane, over the chicane, airborne, felt that one in the back. Yes. So I mean there was that, and as I said, the braking, I thought my eyes were going to pop out of my head. You have no appreciation when you watch these cars on television. You have no appreciation what it's like inside one of those. And Wolf, I mean, he was taking that really tight line. He was hitting the rumble strips. The car was vibrating as Thomas Preining on team radio.
So Tommy, a lot of people are a bit nervous and looks like they're going early. For us, it's only an advantage. We stick to our plan. We know what to do. You know what to do.
Yeah, the track in theory should be getting quicker as the temperature rises, as more rubber goes down. Yesterday, as we said, it was about 3.5 minutes to go when we saw the first push lap. With the cooler temperatures. But of course, when you do leave it late, you've got the risk of somebody chucking it in the gravel, some kind of caution coming out, or just not finding the space out on the track. But as things are at the moment, every car is on track. Jules Goon on the last, just peeling out of the pit lane now. So everybody out there building the temperature, trying to find some space.
Incidentally, he picked up a post-race penalty of 10 seconds, which knocked him down a position in the race. Jules Goon on, that was for the contact with Ricciardo, fell down at turn 1. So that promoted Luca Enxler up into 8th place in the race. Interesting to hear from Patrick Arkenau, who's become the race engineer in the last few meetings for Thomas Preining, runs the team as well, the team boss, but also a massive background in race engineering, very renowned and very respected engineer. Patrick's taken on a dual role and become Thomas's engineer for this season. After the first couple of rounds, Thomas has said to me a couple of times, yeah, he's really good. And Thomas has been, a very experienced driver. He's 28 years of age these days, former Porsche champion, former DTM champion, and he said, he is just about the most technically gifted engineer I've ever come across. So just remaining calm there. Don't be fooled by what the others do. We've got our plan. Let's stick to our plan. Doesn't matter if they're going out a little bit early, getting a little bit nervous. We know what we want to do, and we're going to stick to our guns.
Yeah, I always think the race engineer is kind of part engineer, part therapist, really, because they have to keep the driver calm. You often hear them, even in the drama, they're not getting all kind of high and mighty with what they're saying. They just keep it calm, keep it gentle, keep the driver calm. And just keeping the perspective as well. Don't be fooled into straying from your plan. If you've got a plan, to stick to it, no matter what everyone else is doing. And so it's kind of like almost a reassurance to Thomas Preining, wasn't it? It's like, don't worry, it's all okay.
I don't think Thomas is the sort of character that gets flustered by anybody else anyway, is he? We talked about tyres. Some tracks, half the tracks, you get 4 sets of new tyres. Half of them, you get 3 sets of new slick tyres, which have to last both qualifying sessions, Saturday, Sunday, both races, Saturday and Sunday. Here, you only get 3 sets. And obviously, it was really hot yesterday. It's not a high attrition circuit, this, but it was so hot yesterday. Track temperatures pushing 40 degrees, as it was on Friday. That tyre degradation pretty high. Now, the race this afternoon, we've got 2 pit stop windows, mandatory pit stop windows, which means there are 3 stints. Stint 1 before the first pit stop, stint 2 between the 2 pit stops, and stint 3 after the second pit stop, which means, in theory, you should be using all 3 sets of those tyres. But yesterday, retiring from the race, Kelvin van der Linde, who's had a problem with the rear roll bar and the suspension, which occurred in qualifying as well. So he retired. Timo Glock retired early, Tom Callender retired, Marco Mappelli retired early, Finn Wiebelhaus and Arjun Maini barely did any laps yesterday in the Fords, did they? Because they had this drive-through penalty, so they essentially didn't bother with qualifying, and they both retired within a couple of laps of each other early in the race after serving that drive-through penalty. And the Fords are basically going to have much better tyres than everybody else today, and they were pretty quick on Friday, weren't they? Both scoring top 10 results in free practice. It's usually a pretty strong circuit for them, so that could be a major factor in the race this afternoon, Brian.
And they're always very quick around here as well, the HRT base just across the road from the circuit. But I guess that is the sensible strategy, really, when you've got such a big disadvantage, and the double drive-through penalty yesterday was always going to mean that scoring points was near on impossible. So you just put all your eggs in one basket, in the Sunday basket, and throwing everything at it today. They've got fresh tyres. The car has had very little running, so full focus and full concentration today for both of the Mustangs.
Right, 4 minutes to go, so welcome everybody to qualifying 2. We're about to get going, and we're about to see some quick lap times in this remaining few minutes. We're only into the 129s at the moment. We should be getting into the 125s, and Luca Enxler's just on the absolute best first sector, so he might be one of the early ones to set a benchmark time. We've got Jules Gounon going pretty well as well, with an absolute best middle sector currently. He's a bit further up the lap. Enxler, who is the top Lamborghini yesterday, and not for the first time this season, having a strong year in the top 10 in the championship now, which is no mean feat given he's had a new team, and given the fact that, of course, we've got this new Lamborghini Temerario. He's backed off out of the lap, though, through the third sector. You can see him weaving through into the final turn. Marco Mappelli, his teammate, just behind. Nicky Tim sets the absolute best first sector. Remember, 10 kilograms lighter, more boost, the turbo-powered V8 for Aston Martin, so it should be stronger. Second in the championship before the start of the weekend. Dead a fourth in the championship. Didn't qualify in the top 10 yesterday. Got frustrated with Tom Callender. Got a penalty in the race. Scrapped some points out of it, but needs a much better day today. Preininger set the absolute best first sector now as well. So we've got Timo Glock crossing the line. 126.522. Maro Engel is quickest at the moment with a 126.3. We need to go quicker than that, though. We will go quicker than that. Into the 125s then for Nicky Tim. 125.741. But Preining is quicker. Here he is then, attacking the chicane in the Manthey Porsche. Second on the grid yesterday. Second in the race yesterday. Second in the championship now. The 2023 champion at the home circuit for Manthey. Can he get himself onto provisional pole with a couple of minutes to go? He sprints for the line. It looks good. It is good. 125.531. But he might need to do more, Brian.
Yes, because Lucas Auer's gone quickest of anybody in Sector 1, so he's on a push lap as well. The purples chopping up and down through the screen. So many drivers improving, setting personal best. But at the moment, Lucas Auer in 10th place in the number 22 car. Here comes Kelvin van der Linde across the line, and he goes up to P4. So that'll be second row start. Still more to come, though, from lots of drivers. Nicky Tim up to third. Jules Gounon up to second at 125.533, just 2 thousandths behind Thomas Preining.
And don't forget about Matteo Cairoli, who was completely under everybody's radar yesterday, but they timed it to perfection. He was the last one to start a flying lap. At the moment, he hasn't put a proper lap in yet. He's down at turn 5. He's halfway around the lap. He's going to get back to the line with about probably 40 seconds or so on the clock. So he's going to have one push lap at this, just like he did yesterday, Matteo Cairoli. Right, Nicky Tim, absolute best middle sector. Where can he end up on the lap? He goes to provisional pole position, 125.220 for Nicky Tim then. And that's almost as quick as we went yesterday. Preining is rattling the curves. He hasn't done an absolute best, but he's not far away through the first 2 sectors. 2 personal bests. And his Tim, Auer, Callender the top 3 at the moment. Fella 4th, Engel 5th, Preining is 6th. He's going to be higher than 6th, surely, with this lap, though, as he comes across the line, goes through now 5th. Cairoli, absolute best middle sector. Gounon is quicker than anybody through the first sector as well. So these are the 2 to watch. Cairoli, this is his first push lap. He's going to get one more in with 37 seconds to go. He goes second with that first flying lap. And what about Jules Gounon? He's just about to come out of the final turn, and this should be putting him somewhere near the top of the times. Here he comes, the Frenchman over the curbs, the Mercedes over the line, and goes on to provisional pole, 1:25.062, quickest lap of the weekend for him, and that is a new qualifying lap record.
That was a stonking lap from Jules Gounon, wasn't it? Nicky Tim continuing to improve. He's in second at the moment. He's done a personal best in Sector 1. There are no more purples popping up at the moment, but with time running out, the clock strikes 0. So now anyone who's on a lap, that lap will count, but no more laps after this. So this is the last chance for Nicky Tim. He hasn't improved in the middle sector. So 1:25.22 was his last time around. He's going to stop the clock this time around. I don't think it's going to be any quicker, and it isn't. To 1:25.313.
Here we go again. Cairoli on an absolute best first sector as Riccardo Fella kicks up the dust. I think he's going to be the last one across the line, more or less, once again, is the Italian. Yesterday's pole sitter. Another 3 points as he tries to catch up to the lead quartet of the championship, and pole position with the weight on the car to come this afternoon would be very, very handy indeed. Ben Durr only 13th at the moment. This is his last chance to improve. He comes across the line. He's on a better lap. He goes second quickest. Matteo Cairoli has lost a little bit of time through the middle sector. He crosses the line now. It's third. 1:25.202. What about Marco Wittmann? He's on a really good lap as well. The BMW driver getting much better at qualifying. Goes sixth. 1:25.256. His teammate Kelvin van der Linde behind only in ninth place. But it's Jules Gounon who gets pole position with a 1:25.062 qualifying lap record. Can Jules finally get himself a 2026 DTM podium? Well, that's a very promising start for him. Ben Durr on the front row again. He's qualifying second. He got pole position here, remember, at the Nürburgring. He's first last year. Matteo Cairoli third. No Matteo, he'll be a bit disappointed with that, but he was close. Third place, good effort. Another championship point as well. Nicky Tim much stronger than yesterday in fourth. Maro Engel always in the top sixes. He averages sixth on the grid. He's fifth in the session, and he's got no weight on the car today because he wasn't in the top three yesterday. Marco Wittmann, whose best three qualifyings of the year have been the last three qualifying sessions, in the top six again. Lugiauer seventh. Thomas Preining only ended up in eighth place, but was only 0.2 of a second off pole position. It was that close. Kelvin van der Linde ninth, and Arjun Maini in 10th place. Callender 11th, Fella in 12th. Enxler 13th, Mapelli 14th, Feeblehouse 15th, so not great from the Fords actually. Bortolotti in 16th, was sort of anonymous in that session really. Vermeulen issues with the car 17th, Boost back in 18th, Glock in 19th, Bart 20th, and no Christian Engelhardt. So Jules Gounon gets pole position, and that was a superb lap. It feels like his luck is starting to change a bit in that he's having less bad luck. Certainly GT World Challenge, where he got a win finally, a pole position there as well at Magny-Cours a couple of weeks ago, and a win as well. And for Jules Gounon, that is his second pole position. His last pole position was at the start of last season, back at Oschersleben, where he didn't end up winning the race, but he did get a second place finish. He's never won in DTM. He has got a podium this year. I think things might be about to change on that front this afternoon. A great effort by Jules Gounon, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he said last week that the last few months have been some of the toughest he's ever experienced in motor racing, and people have started to doubt and ask me if he still had what it takes. He says, yes, I certainly have, and he's proven that here, because that was a stonking lap in the yellow Mamba. Almost made it into the 24s, didn't he?
Yeah.
Calm and collected, out of the car he gets, but boy, what a lap that was from Jules Gounon.
Fantastic from Jules, born in Aubenas, lives in Andorra, big smile on his face, and he'll just be going for wins, podiums. Bad start to the season, but that doesn't mean he's going to be any less dangerous for the remaining 5 races of the year. Mercedes on pole position, and they lead the Manufacturers' Championship as well. 15 titles for Mercedes. Can they get a 16th this year? It's looking strong. Big smiles then for Jules Gounon. Ben Durr, another great job in second place, only a 10th off as well. 1:25.175 was a really good lap from him as well. And the whole field, all 20 cars, covered by 0.8 of a second.
That's insane. And the top 19 by 0.67. Yeah. I mean, that is incredible. Close. Incredible. Championship leader, Maro Engel, another solid performance there. 5th place. That's a pretty solid place to be starting from in this race as well.
Yeah, and of the front runners in the championship, it's only Kai Rowley that scored. He's got a point, so now we've only got 36 points between the top 5 in the championship. Let's go down to Verena.
And I'm here with Bender. It's the second time you're in the top 3 in the qualifying. We spoke yesterday and you were very optimistic about today. So how excited are you about P2?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Yesterday with P5 I've been super happy already. But yeah, P2 for sure is a bit nicer. So yeah, super proud to everyone. I think we put it all together. Car felt great today, and yeah, I'm super happy with P2 now.
Congratulations, looking forward to the race. Thank you, Ben. Back to you.
Yeah, excellent job by Bender, the 21-year-old most improved driver of 2025 by some distance, and he's continued that upward trajectory with some brilliant performances this year. First time he's been on the front row of the grid since he was second in qualifying for the opening round of the season at the Red Bull Ring. Let's hope the race goes better than it did for him there. It only lasted a lap and a bit before he had contact coming out of turn 1 with Bastian Boost. The race ended for him, but of course, and then wanted to correct that with a podium at Zandvoort and a win at the Lausitzring. Back down to Verena.
And Matteo Cairoli. Yesterday, from a pole to a victory, today you'll be starting in P3. So how are you going to make sure that you get your podium and maybe even another win from P3?
Honestly, I'm slightly disappointed because I think I could potentially do it again, but the last sector has been a bit tough for me, so I didn't probably put everything together, but for sure, I mean, looking the gap, I think this small tenths I had it in the pocket. So yeah, I mean, still a great position to start with, but for sure I wanted a bit more. Yeah, so we have another opportunity today. Yeah, we are a bit heavier compared to yesterday, so I expect that it's gonna be a bit more difficult, but nevertheless I will push like an animal, try to maybe win again. Who knows?
Looking forward to that, pushing like an animal. Thank you so much, Matteo. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Frida. Yeah, I told you you'd be a bit disappointed with third. That's the very high standards that Matteo Cairoli sets for himself. Still a really good effort, though, for him. And I guess the key thing for him, yes, he would have liked pole. Yes, he would have liked a couple of extra points for qualifying. But he is ahead of everybody that's ahead of him in the championship. So he's made a bit of ground up already with a point for qualifying third. And he'll be ahead of them all on the grid for the race to come at 1:30 this afternoon. From the comms box, from Brian Oliver and me, Chris Hartley, that's it for qualifying. Hope you've enjoyed it. Back down to Verena.
And look at this, pole position award, Jules Gounon, congratulations. What a phenomenal lap you put in there in the end. So how excited are you?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a surprise, to be honest, because it's been such a struggle this year in DTM. I could not understand what was going on, but last night I was complaining once again, and my engineer Thomas found something with my mechanics on the diff. We found something we didn't understand, something felt wrong. We changed it, we completed, and this morning the car felt amazing. So feels like a bit of relief. I'm very happy for them because, you know, I have the nice job. I come early, I leave early, they stay late, they work all the time. They hear my complaint in French, in English, not in German, but at the end of the day, sometimes nothing clicks, and today it clicked. So I'm really happy for them, to reward them for the work, and let's see if we can do a good race this afternoon.
Hope it clicks in the race as well. Thank you so much, Jules. Congratulations again. And qualifying, wow, that was exciting, and now we're looking forward to the race. See you then. Here are the highlights. Bye-bye.